So today is the final of DreamLeague 11, Dota Major.
Oh, yes.
And it's been a different major, hasn't it? How do you feel about the way...
different.
It's felt very different. I've been watching the broadcast of every major.
It's a DreamLeague, though.
Yeah, well,
it's
that's
Jimmy Fallon meets esports meets... trying to think of something that's fun that doesn't insult DreamHack, but it's fun. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be more relaxed, more lighthearted.
Right now, when you tune in, we've got the sort of a studio feel,
Jimmy
like
Fallon.
A late night talk show. Yeah, Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I would love to do that show. I really. I'm not the right person to do it. Obviously, Shiva fits that bill much better than I do. But no, I like it. I love the set. I think it's fantastic. You've got the little musician, you've got a guitarist doing like intros and stuff. You've got the door, people coming in and out of the door. It's fantastic.
But it's very light-hearted. Shouldn't a major be more professional, more serious than this?
Get out.
No, I'm playing devil's advocate for you. I don't actually think that, by the way. I love the show.
What is it with us esports? Why can't we understand that being professional doesn't preclude having fun? And having fun doesn't mean you're not being professional. Why can't we stop doing that immediately? Sorry, rant. I get fed up with it, but people don't seem to understand that the two are not mutually exclusive. They can go hand in hand. Just because I'm a more typical ESPN sports style presenter host doesn't mean that that's the only way that's professional.
Yeah,
that's not what it means. So, okay, rant over. But going back to DreamHack, no, it's a different style for sure. But bloody hell, I'm glad it's a different style. Like we've only got 5 majors this season, right? And I'm actually quite sad about that, not least of which because I don't get to do so much Dota, which is a shame for me personally, right? But aside from that, because we only have 5, if they all looked exactly the same, my God, that would be boring. I don't want 5 exactly the same looking majors. The reason we've got 5 different majors from 5 different people, 5 different groups of people, is because they have their own interpretation, their own ideas about how it should look and feel. And that's great. I love that diversity. We don't want every single show. Like, I'm not saying like ESL's way is the best way to do it, or PGL's way the best way to do it, or DreamHack's way. They're all great. They're all great individually for their own reasons, right? But they've also got their own flavour and their own vibe. DreamLeague and DreamHack have built that over a number of years. It's something that goes back to... I mean, look, I went to the first DreamHack in 2005. I think the first time we shoutcasted from a DreamHack was 2005. Right?
Wow.
You played in that tournament, by the way. That was a Quake 4 tournament in DreamHack Winter. I was the first shoutcaster that went out live in the hall. Yeah. And we did it on audio, right? But even then, they were messing around with me and fucking around with the laptop and doing all sorts of stupid crap and running over and speaking into the microphone. Even then, they were messing around. It was always a bit more fun-orientated, right? When I started working with DreamHack on esports in 2011 and 2012, and we did places like Valencia for StarCraft, and we did... actually, the Ericsson Globe was a little bit different because it was WCS, but we did a number of different events that year for StarCraft and League and all sorts of games. They were always a bit more light-hearted. They were always more fun, and mainly because of the people behind the scenes that were driving that. They were guys that used to write for Rakaka, and they would have a different vibe about it. They didn't treat it as seriously as perhaps everyone else, and that vibe, thankfully, has stayed with DreamHack. It's a vibe I personally really enjoy watching. It's very entertaining. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It's not meant to be deadly serious. They never set up to go, yeah, we're going to be a proper, late night Jimmy Fallon rip-off show, and we're not going to have any fun. No, it's meant to be lighthearted and break down the fourth wall a little bit, and that's great. I like it. And to your point about, well, it's a major, maybe they should, step up and stuff.
There's a lot of money at stake. There's
doesn't
points
matter.
at stake.
They're not making that any less valid by having fun. And so when we have Disneyland and we have Epicenter, I'm sure they'll do things differently too. Every time we've gone to Epicenter, they've produced these incredible stages that no one else in esports produces, maybe save Blizzard at BlizzCon, and they're spending gazillion dollars to build these incredible
They probably took ideas from Epicenter as well.
Maybe, but the stuff that Epicenter have done on their stages has been unbelievably good, right? Stuff that ESL does on a regular basis, high quality sports style broadcasting, is absolutely amazing. It's brilliant. It really is. Stuff that MDL will do at Disneyland, who knows, right? Who knows what that's going to look like? But they're doing it in frickin' Disneyland. How cool is that? I mean, if I don't see Mickey Mouse on stream at some point, I'm going to be disappointed. If I don't see the palaces with fireworks going off at some point during the... I'm going to be disappointed. But it's a different vibe again. You can't possibly do what PGL did with the Kuala Lumpur Major and put it inside Disneyland. It's impossible, right? But you also probably can't do what DreamHack do and put it inside Disneyland either. So it's each to their own. And I love the fact that we have this diversity. And I think we're very spoiled and we're very lucky, and we should be a bit more grateful as Dota fans that we have so many different eclectic mixes of takes on what can be a great broadcast of a Dota tournament.
Culture.
Yeah.
And
I mean, just because it's a major, what, they have to change everything?
No, they shouldn't.
No, they got the major because they're DreamHack.
Yeah.
They didn't get the major because they were like, yes, sir, no, sir, we'll change everything and make it more sanitized. And we'll calm everything down and we'll take Selection Slacks off screen. They didn't do that. They said, we're DreamHack. This is how we're going to do it. Can we have a major? And they went, fuck yeah. Of course you can have a major. You're brilliant. We love you.
And I guess everyone's going to vote with their viewership, right?
Of course. I mean, look, here's the other thing, right? And we don't often talk about this enough, I don't think, as talent or as broadcasters, right? There are tastes involved. There are some people that don't like me as a host. I understand that. I've got no issue with that, right? As long as you're not out there shouting and screaming at me and giving me abuse, I don't really care. If you don't like me and you don't like my hosting, that's absolutely fine, no problem. Likewise, there are fans that don't like Shiva. There are fans that don't like Richard Campbell. There are fans who don't like Selection Slacks. We've all got detractors. You can't possibly have everyone like everyone and the styles that they deliver. Everyone has their own idea about how it should be delivered, and therefore there will be fans complaining right now, this is a major, you should be doing it more professionally, because in their mind, professional is the way that ESL do it. In their mind. It's not any different. The professionalism isn't any different. And I can tell you, having worked with the DreamHack guys, that they are absolutely professionals. Like, there's some amazingly talented people at DreamHack, just as there are at ESL and PGL as well. It doesn't make any difference about their professionalism. They're all professional. The difference is you have a personal taste about how you think something should be delivered. And if it doesn't match your expectations, then no, you're not going to enjoy it. And there will be people that don't enjoy the way that DreamHack are putting the major on. Yeah. There will be. It's inevitable. They can't please everyone. But I think 95% of the fan base will enjoy it because they're used to it. It's what they expect from DreamHack.
Yeah. And that fan base, these people who love Dota, know a lot about it, don't want to hear the things they already know.
No, like sure. But they're the hardcore that will probably watching Dota TV anyway.
Yeah. Oh, there's some of that. But you have to understand some of the memes to watch it. You have to understand some of the in-jokes.
Yeah.
It can be tricky. Like, I would argue that, say, if you're a new viewer and you come on and you don't understand any of the jokes, maybe you get a little bit turned off.
No, I would say that's true. But I think, again, we're talking about 5 events throughout the year, 5 majors that are not necessarily designed around attracting a new audience.
And this is the Valve culture. It is. We're not gonna set out a list of you must do this. They've gone to DreamLeague and said...
They give people enough room to do what they want to do. And if they don't like it ultimately, then they don't have to renew, do they? They don't have to give them another major next year. But I think they will.
And this is what
there's no reason why they shouldn't.
Yeah. And you don't get this in, say, Riot or Blizzard games because everything is in a prescribed format. So we get... I think we maybe
again, we're down that whole pros and cons thing, right? Yeah. There are some very big pros that we miss out on as a non-franchised game or league. Having just come out of 2 business meetings, I can tell you that Dota doesn't come up very much in these kind of meetings because it's not a franchise league, and people struggle. I should explain. Brands struggle to understand esports as a whole. It's very messy for them. It's very Wild West looking to them, right? They like Federation owns sport. Sport has X leagues. X leagues can take X sponsorship. We like that, right? We understand that. So give them a franchised version of that in esports, and they understand it much easier. And I know this might sound really Janet and John, but when you're putting in $1 million, $5 million to something, you want it to be something you understand. Yeah. And you want it to return something that's easy to measure. And franchise leagues are that. It's absolutely true, right? So it's much easier from a business standpoint to sell on sponsorship and brands the idea of the Overwatch League or League of Legends or potentially coming up Call of Duty World League. So much easier. The Dota doesn't come into it. But I like also the fact that Dota is so open and that it can have this creativity. We would never have a company like BTS, for instance, being able to do the summit in Overwatch League. It's never going to happen. Right? I know they did some early stuff, but it's never going to happen from now on. It just can't work in the way that league is structured. It hasn't got room for it. Thank God it has in Dota. Thank God it has in fight games. Thank God it has in Counter-Strike. Because I would not want to miss those events. They're unique. And they're almost a cry back to the kind of stuff we used to do in our early days.
Yeah, it goes to our roots.
It does.
I was going to say.
And so I think as long as there is room for all of those different versions and visions of how to put on something and how to entertain, because that's what we're doing at the end of the day, we're entertaining people, then great, fantastic. But have a healthy respect for the franchise model, because it means we are missing out on a lot of money.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons.
There's
is all
pros
I'm saying.
and cons.
And I'm very happy with the way that it's balanced right now. I think it's okay.
Well, it's down to people at home. Vote with your eyeballs.
Absolutely.
Tune in to watch DreamLeague, which the final is starting soon.